In a single year, the world is now spending more than $600 billion to build thinking machines, and earning back barely a tenth of it. We have raised cathedrals this expensive once before. In the 1980s, they were called Lisp machines, and almost overnight, they collapsed. This is the pendulum of mind. On the 9th of June, 2026, a company called Anthropic released the most powerful artificial mind it had ever built. 3 days later, the government of the United States made them switch it off. Not a recall over a defect, not a court order over a lawsuit, a national security directive citing the discovery of a way to break the model's safeguards, ordering that this intelligence be placed beyond the reach of every foreign national on Earth, including the company's own foreign employees. By that same evening, the model was dark. Sit with that for a moment. We began this whole series 7 episodes and 7 centuries ago with a single haunting image, a machine so committed to its goal that it resists its own off switch. We spent 700 years building toward a mind powerful enough that the question of who controls it would finally, truly matter. And in June of 2026, for the first time, a government reached past the company, past the engineers, and pulled the switch itself. This is the chapter we are living inside right now, the race for the last invention. To understand how the stakes got this high, follow the money. Because the money in this final chapter is unlike anything in the history of industry. To build minds at the new frontier, you need computers of almost unimaginable scale. Not a server room, but entire campuses of them, drinking electricity by the gigawatt, enough to power small cities. So the giants began to build them. A single American project named Stargate was announced with a price tag of $500 billion. And across the whole industry in 2026, the spending on this machinery is running towards $700 billion in a single year. Numbers that used to belong to national defense budgets now belong to the construction of thinking machines. If you have been with this series from the start, this should give you a deep, cold sense of déjà vu. Cast your mind back to the 1980s. Specialized companies built gleaming, hugely expensive cathedrals of hardware, certain the future required them. We watched those cathedrals, the great Lisp machines, collapse to nothing almost overnight when the bet went bad. Now we are building cathedrals again, 1,000 times larger, and betting the entire economy on them. The pendulum has done this before. The only question is whether, this time, the prayers will be answered. And what are these cathedrals producing? A blur. By 2026, the frontier moves so fast it is almost impossible to film. OpenAI ships GPT-5 and a parade of point releases. Google answers with Gemini 3. Anthropic pushes Claude to Opus 4.8, a model that, on a brutal real-world coding test, now fixes the great majority of genuine software bugs handed to it. Elon Musk's xAI fires back with Grok. The version numbers tick up so fast they have stopped meaning anything to a normal human being. And remember DeepSeek, the quiet rival from the last episode? They return with a new open model that rivals the giants while costing a tiny fraction to use. And, in a detail that sends a chill through Silicon Valley, reportedly running without a single one of the American chips everyone assumed were the price of admission. Every lab, every week, announces that it now holds the crown. Each posts its benchmark scores, declares itself the smartest mind ever built, and is dethroned by a rival before the headline cools. If this sounds familiar, it should. 2 episodes ago, we watched the exact same theater. Everyone insisting they were the best, until no honest person could tell who actually was. Underneath the noise, the truth is simpler and stranger. The gap between the very best machines, open and closed, east and west, has narrowed to almost nothing. The frontier is no longer a peak, it is a crowd. But the real story of 2026 is not which model wins. It is where they have quietly gone to live. Remember, in the last episode, the machine learned to act. In this one, it shows up for work. The agents have left the chat window and walked into the economy. A coding agent, a machine that writes and ships real software on its own, became one of the fastest growing business tools in history, reaching $2 billion in annual revenue. Microsoft began rolling out whole systems for companies to manage fleets of these agents, the way you would once have managed employees. Across offices everywhere, work that used to take a person a day is now handed to a machine that does it in a minute, unsupervised. And here, the deepest thread of this entire series pulls tight. For 700 years, we asked, can a machine reason? Then, can it speak? Then, can it act? Now, for the first time, millions of these acting machines are loose in the real world, doing real work, making real decisions, with no human watching, most of them, most of the time. The alignment problem, that ancient worry about keeping a powerful machine pointed where we want it, stopped being a philosophy seminar. It became the operating condition of the global economy. We did not just build the genie. We gave it a job, a login, and a corporate credit card. And that brings us to the question hanging over all of it, the one nobody in 2026 can answer. Is this real? Or is it a bubble? Look at the arithmetic, and it is genuinely frightening. The industry is spending something like $600 or $700 billion a year building this future. And the actual money coming back, the direct revenue from all this AI, is a small fraction of that. By some estimates, around $50 billion. Spending more than $10 for every one it earns. Survey after survey of ordinary companies finds the same uncomfortable result. The vast majority of corporate AI projects have produced no measurable profit at all. And in 2026, the Federal Reserve, the most sober institution in American finance, named artificial intelligence one of the top systemic risks to the entire financial system. We have been here before, and you know exactly where. The AI winters. Each one began the same way. Dazzling promise, a flood of money, sky-high expectations, and then a cold, brutal reckoning when the capabilities could not pay the bills. So which is it this time? Are we watching the foundation of the next century being poured? Or are we standing in 1987 again, inside a gleaming cathedral, the moment before it falls? The honest answer today is that nobody knows. And the people most certain either way are usually the ones selling something. Which finally brings us back to the off switch, and to the machine the government would not allow to exist. In the spring of 2026, Anthropic revealed that it had built a model so capable it had decided not to release it to the public at all. They called it Mythos, and they shared it only with a small circle of trusted security partners. The reason was chilling and concrete. Pointed at the world's software, this single mind found over 10,000 serious, critical security flaws. The kind that, in the wrong hands, crack open banks, power grids, hospitals. It was a master key to the digital world, so they kept it in a vault. Then, in June, they tried to let a careful, safeguarded version out, the model called Fable 5. And the United States government, having watched all of this, having seen a way that even those safeguards might be broken, said no. Not yet. Not for the world. And reached past the company to shut it down. Stop and feel the full weight of that. We started in a candlelit room with a monk turning a wheel of paper, dreaming of a machine that could calculate the truth. We have arrived at a mind so powerful that a government treats it the way it treats a weapon, something to be controlled, classified, kept from the wrong hands. The dream of the thinking machine and the fear of the thinking machine have finally, completely become the same thing. And so we arrive, at last, at today. 7 centuries ago, a monk on a Mediterranean island spun a wheel of paper, certain that truth could be calculated. 300 years ago, a satirist imagined a machine that shuffled words into books, certain that language could be faked. We have now built both of their machines, in one, and we are racing, faster than we can think, to build the next. Look at where the pendulum hangs in this exact moment, in the middle of 2026. It swings between scale and reason and cannot choose, between an open future and a closed one, between east and west, between the deepest hope this technology will lift up everything we touch, and the cold fear that it is a bubble, or a weapon, or both. It swings between the dream of a mind that can finally produce the truth, and the oldest dread in this whole story, that we are building something we will not be able to switch off. For the first time, this June, we watched a government lunge for that switch. But the machines are everywhere now. They think, they speak, they act, they work. And the pendulum, after 700 years, has not slowed for an instant. It never does. So we will leave you where this series has always lived, not with an answer, but with the question, sharper now than Lul could ever have dreamed it. It is no longer only whether the machine can tell the truth from a beautiful lie. It is whether we still can, and whether, when it matters most, we will still be the ones holding the switch. This has been The Pendulum of Mind. The story is still being written, by us and increasingly by them. So tell me, after everything you have seen, are you excited or are you terrified?